talent manager. I work in different spaces within the entertainment industry. Currently serve as the CEO of Story Zetu Productions, which is the executive producer for Too Early for Birds, among other productions. I have my background is in management consulting, so I worked in management consulting and investment management in the corporate world for a while, but always had a passion for the arts, always had a passion for entertainment. And so now I get the opportunity to bring those two together. For context, I did a lot of theater in high school and in uni. And so in 2022, I was part of the cast of Too Early for Birds. And then I was doing Too Early for Birds, acting and doing theater while still doing my corporate job. So I was still in the business space. And then in 2023, an opportunity came to just support the from the management side, and because of my business experience and also the fact that I was part of the Too Early for Birds family, it kind of just made sense. And it was a decision that was a long time coming because I really wanted to find a way to bring those two worlds together. So it just kind of worked well. The most exciting thing about the work that I do is, I know this is very cliche, but the people. I enjoy working with people, enjoy working with artists, enjoy working with talent, as well as the crew and the producers who work behind the scenes. And I also love bringing stories and things like that to audiences. So how, engaging with audiences, but also engaging with the team that I work with. So I would say that's probably the most exciting thing. I also think that entertainment is a different industry from different other industries, because most other sectors or most other industries sometimes have very clean-cut solutions to things. But the entertainment industry is always changing, and there's always something new. There's always a new trend you have to keep up with. So that dynamic nature of the industry is something that I really enjoy and find very exciting. For a lot of the work that's been happening in Kenya in the entertainment industry, a lot of people are learning things on the job. So you have to figure out how money works, you have to figure out how the law works on your own. And sometimes it can get very stressful and very tiring when you're kind of learning on the job. But I think this particular program enables you to be equipped with those skills so that when you go into the industry, you kind of know what to expect already, rather than just kind of getting lost. I also think that it's a great chance to figure out what parts of the entertainment industry you want to focus on, because there's just so many things. There's the legal side, there's the business side, there's the management and like working with people side, there's managing audiences, there's marketing. There's so many different things that make the whole system work. And for you, it's important, I think, the program, you're able to also take time to understand what you like, what you're good at, and where you best fit. I think people see the shining aspects, people see the glitz and glamour, people see the nice, the award ceremonies, the people dressing up. People see the content and the actual, the music, they enjoy the output. But I don't think people really see the behind the scenes and how much work it takes to actually get there in the first place. And I think that when you're in a program like this that gives you insight of what's happening behind the scenes, then you're a lot more prepared, because it's a lot of work. Like working in the entertainment industry is a lot of work. It's very time consuming. Sometimes it doesn't always amount to, sometimes the work and how much it takes doesn't always, it's a bit risky. Sometimes it doesn't always amount to, as much profit or as much benefit as you would like. But it's so rewarding, and you almost need an opportunity to see all the different aspects so that you're going in with a lot more perspective. So I think a program like this would give a lot more insight and perspective, so you make a mature decision regardless of where you choose to go career-wise. But recognizing the kind of work it takes to manage talent. But I also think that a program like this in particular will look at talent, not just the logistical aspect of it, of like booking gigs and, you know, making sure your artist is paid and all these different things. But I hope that the program also gives insight on how talent also includes caring for the artist themselves. So developing the artist themselves, developing their skill, but also making sure they're well, thinking about their mental health and their health in general, thinking about what they need, and balancing what they need with what the industry needs to make strategic decisions. So a day to day as a talent manager, you're constantly making decisions that will benefit your audience, but also need not to be at the expense of the talent themselves. So you have to constantly be making decisions, and a course like this would prepare you to make wise decisions. Learn as much as you can from other businesses and other industries, because the fundamental principles of business are the same. You know, revenues and making sure your costs are lower than your revenues in order to make a profit. So those are standard across the things people are doing and learning in other industries, whether it looks like increasing your profit, increasing your market. All those things are so valuable. So don't take other industries for granted, and learn as much as you can from those. But then with the entertainment industry, there's also, you need to have an appetite for flexibility, and you also need to have an appetite for risk in ways that you may not necessarily be required to have in certain industries. You have to almost have an appetite to try something that other people haven't tried before, and be willing to make mistakes, because that's when you can actually end up making the big bucks. So it's a bit of a balance, like learn what works, but then also be willing to be disrupted and be willing to have your plans interrupted. Project management, working in teams and communication and delegation. Yeah, I think those would be the two main ones. Project management, when you look at it in terms of like the three things, like resources and budget, deadlines and time, how you manage time, and actually defining roles for people. Those are the three things that, you know, I would want to take away from an event management program. And then the working with people from a communications perspective, because events are a short-term project that's very intense for a short period of time. So everybody's emotionally off, for lack of a better word. And as an event manager, you have to be, you know, emotionally intelligent, able to understand the people you're working with, and just able to kind of structure your event in a way that you're dealing with people and being patient with people. And so communication and like people skills is also very valuable. I think you can tell when an artist or a group or a product really cares about the end user, really cares about the audience. One thing I've learned about Too Early for Birds is, even before I joined the team, is that the team is constantly thinking about the fans. We're constantly thinking about the fans when it comes to pricing. We're constantly thinking about the fans when it comes to marketing, constantly thinking about the fans when it comes to actually creating the content, what they would engage with, what they wouldn't. And so your fans and your audience are your biggest asset. And so investing in them, even when it feels like it's a stretch, like investing in them always has a ripple effect and always, you know, has a multiplication effect, if you will. And so generally, like I've always thought about the work we do and the work I do in with other artists. The most successful work, the most successful campaigns are very people-centered in their design. It's very audience-centered in their design. I always say there's something for everyone. There's something for every personality. There's something for every skill set. Top of my head, I'm thinking there's a lot more operational work that's coming in, because you have a lot of creative work that's being produced, whether virtually, digitally, or even in-person events and stuff. And we are getting to a point where people need to be able to do many things at a short period of time with less people. And so there's probably going to be a lot of like operation roles, and that looks like, beside typical admin, it looks like CRM, like managing different customer relationships, project management, sales, the actual inside at home work, like in the base work. Also, a lot of work around just general logistics, tours, like buses, making sure people, things like that. So logistics is also a big one. In terms of, those who are a bit more tech savvy, I think there's a lot of opportunities in streamlining a lot of these operational processes. So systems that just make it easier for a manager to know when somebody needs to be somewhere. So coders also have work there. From the more front-facing, of course, we've seen a surge in, more content creators, more actors, more people, who are able to create content independently, which is great. And so, the behind the scenes helping them manage their revenues, helping them manage their money. So for the business people, there's work for lawyers, a lot of work for lawyers. And I think for lawyers, it's very interesting because there's legal work for actually interpreting the law. But I think more and more we're going to get to a point where we will need lawyers to actually create laws for the entertainment industry, because there's just some things that are not yet defined around intellectual property and how we think about money. So there's something for everyone, to be very honest. And and even teachers, a lot of educators, because there's a lot of skills that need to be learned by so many people. Yeah. So there's something for everyone. I think courses like this help us as an industry to standardize some of the professionalism. You're able to kind of standardize, like, this is what to expect when you're on set. This is what to expect when you're on stage. I think one thing that I've really seen is the value of being able to speak the same language. So if the sound guy knows this is what I need, the lights person knows this is what I need, and we're all kind of on the same page. And a lot of that comes from, of course, learning from the job. But I think also having courses that bring everybody to the same place would also be valuable as well. I also think that, as is the case with any education system or any education space, there are some things that you discover as you're learning. So when you're in a group of people, different personalities, different backgrounds, and we're all talking about the industry, we can learn stuff, but we can also start to develop our own learning, like to start talking more about where the entertainment industry could go, building relationships with each other, building networks. Networks is such a big part of the industry and how you grow in the industry. And so I think there's such value in bringing people together to learn. It's a great low-risk way of learning what you're good at and what you're not good at. And it's a great way to make the decision about where you want to go without losing out, because you're not locking yourself to just the entertainment industry. You might come and do the course and realize, oh, I really am good at this skill. And that's a skill that you can transfer to anything else, into something else. So I would say it's a low-risk way of learning as much as you can, but also discovering yourself, because you just end up getting exposed to so many different aspects of the industry. One, it gives people opportunity to showcase and perform and get exposure and visibility, which is always valuable in the industry. But I think being able to do it in a large scale, so bigger concerts, bigger tournaments, also means more opportunities for work. I think one of the things that also drives the work that I do is also creating employment. I think we're in a country that needs more of those. We have a bulging youth population. And so even being in a space that can actually create opportunities for work and income for people is valuable. And I think the entertainment industry has, there's a great opportunity to create more jobs. And I also think it's a great way to just see that it's possible, like these things are possible. I think we really limit ourselves sometimes. And so, yeah, I think that it does benefit people and it benefits the country as a whole as well. We need more managers who care about the people that they're working with and have longevity in mind and have sustainability in mind. So they're not just thinking about what's the next best thing, let me make my buck and move on. And they're also not thinking about the high highs and then they move on, but they're thinking about these people and these products and these artists 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and making decisions with that in mind. Does that make sense? So they're thinking about things from a long-term sustainability point of view. And so because of that, when they're thinking about their work as managers, as operators, they're a lot more intentional about setting structures, setting systems, while still allowing for innovation and flexibility. So people who are thinking about long-term change and long-term impact are so valuable in the industry right now, as opposed to someone who's just trying to get a high and then move on. It is fun. It really is fun. It is very rewarding. It has an opportunity for impact, and there's a lot of interesting things to do. And as I said earlier, there's room for any skill set if you just kind of are intentional about finding out what you're good at. So I will say it's very rewarding. It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding.